Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about thesis statements. My first question I'm going to pose is, what is a thesis statement? It's a one sentence that expresses the main idea of a research paper or essay. It makes a claim that directly answers a question and should tell your reader what to expect. A thesis statement is always within the first or introductory paragraph and is usually the last sentence or within one of the last sentences. The question that the thesis statement answers is usually the prompt of the paper or essay. Now that we have somewhat of an idea of what a thesis statement is, we're going to talk about why it's important. When you understand why it's important, you'll understand why it's structured the way it is, and I think it'll give you a better idea of how to write them and how to put them into your papers. So we need to give our reader a sense of direction and the tools that they need to understand where the paper is headed. This is precisely what a thesis statement does. It also gives the reader a purpose for reading it. If we give them a little sneak peek of what the paper is, they will be more apt to pay attention or be interested in reading it. So I'm going to give you a quick example. If I'm looking up a recipe, or if someone gives me a recipe, and all they give me are the directions, they don't give me what I'm supposed to be making or the ingredients, am I going to be successful in what I'm making? Of course not. The thesis statement is pretty much the same thing. If we look at this, now I have my main idea, my end product, the pumpkin pie. This is the same thing as a thesis statement. Within the thesis, you give the main idea, and also, just like in the pie recipe, the ingredients are much like the facts or opinion within the thesis statement. When we give our reader these little sneak peeks into our paper, they'll know what to expect and be able to look out for what the end product is supposed to be. So let's break it down. There are three parts of a thesis statement: the how, the what, and the so what. First, the how is, what is your opinion or argument? The what is the topic, and how are you addressing the prompt? And three, the so what. How is your argument impacting something? Why should we read your paper? Now, this may seem a bit confusing without context, so we're going to work on one together. So I chose a really simple question because in this part, we are just looking at the structure of a thesis statement, not the content. This is important because when you are writing a thesis statement, it's very easy to get lost in what you're trying to say. So having a structure will definitely help you in making a concise thesis statement that will make sense and that will just really get your reader drawn in. So my question was, what are the best type of sandwiches? So after going through all the different types of sandwiches and thinking of all my reasonings, I came up with this thesis statement. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are the best type of sandwich because they're versatile, easy to make, and taste good. So let's break this down. I'm going to the first step, the how, my opinion. I chose peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now we're going to the what. How am I addressing the prompt? I brought it in by saying, are the best type of sandwich. That is the question that is going to be answered. And the so what. Why should people want to read this? Why are peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the best? And I said it's because they are versatile, easy to make, and taste good. Now that we worked on our structure, that was a bit working backwards. So now we're going to work from the beginning on how to get our ideas, our argument, and our reasonings and put them together in a thesis statement while using the structure we just went over. So I chose this prompt. Should school districts make a rule that teachers cannot assign homework on the weekends? Explain in a 5-paragraph essay as to why or why not, and use at least 2 articles to back up your claims. So this is a prompt organizer that I used, a graphic organizer, and I put the prompt at the top so that I can always refer back to it when writing my thesis. So the first thing you have to do when making your thesis is choosing your argument. What side are you going to take? So for me, I chose that schools should make a rule that teachers cannot assign homework on the weekends. While your argument is completely valid, in a research paper, you need to give reasonings as to why, so that the person reading it can agree with you and understand where you're coming from. So I gave 3 reasons, my top reasons why I thought that schools should make a rule that teachers cannot assign homework on the weekends. My first one was that students need relaxation time. My second one was that they need time with their family. And the third one is that they can use the weekend to catch up on other work. After looking at my argument, my reasoning, and going back to the prompt and making sure that I'm answering the question being asked, I wrote this thesis. Due to such long hours in the school week, the district should not allow homework to be assigned on the weekends so that students can use the weekends to relax, spend time with family, and catch up on other work. So now that we did that, now that I went from the beginning, I'm going back to my first strategy and working backwards to make sure that I answered all the questions and parts of a thesis statement. So I'm going to the how, my opinion. I said that they should not allow homework to be assigned. The what, how am I addressing the prompt? Am I making sure that the question's being answered? The prompt asked if homework was to be assigned on the weekends, so I made sure that I put that in my thesis. And finally, the so what. What are my reasonings? And I said so that students can use the weekends to relax, spend time with family, and catch up on other work. Now that we did all that, we're going to go back and go over what we learned in this video. So as a wrap up, we're going to address 3 questions. What is a thesis statement? It's a sentence that expresses the main idea of a research paper or essay, and it makes a claim that directly answers a question. And you should tell your reader what to expect. As I said, when we answer the question, we know that our thesis statement is valid and we're on the right track. Why is it important? It gives our reader a sense of direction and the tools they need to understand where the paper is headed so that they can better understand our purpose for writing it. And finally, what are the 3 parts of a thesis statement? It's the how, the what, and the so what. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this helps you in creating your thesis statements.